Hey guys, welcome back to Skylanders Ring of Heroes. We're back on my alt account. I think we're on about day 10 of the account, and for the last few days I've just been farming B8, and it made me come to some realizations of some things that people might not have tried when they're trying to progress through their dungeon teams. So I thought I'd make a video about some tips on things that you can try to do to improve the success of your dungeon teams as you're progressing. So like I said, I'm here in B8, and the first thing I want to say is try different comps. Even if you don't think it'll work, it doesn't really hurt to try. For instance, I found that the best comp for me just uses Kaboom, because I find that having just Stealth Elf and Boomer when I get to the boss works really well. And Kaboom's that guy that sometimes he'll survive, but if he does, he's not completely bad because he still has bombs and he still has a strip that, you know, can do decent damage. But most of the time, like in this run, he will die, which leaves it perfectly set up for my Stealth Elf and Boomer to take it away. So I find with this comp, as long as my Stealth Elf gets one crit, it's normally pretty good, and we should survive pretty fine. We still haven't crit yet, so this will test the theory. The boss is attacking her. We still have not crit. And once again, with this team, it's about 80 to 90% successful. So hopefully we get the bomb here, we get a crit here, and then we should be good. A crit here we need. There we go. Finally, one crit out of, I think that was about 7 attacks from the Stealth Elf. Is all we need for Boomer and Stealth Elf to sort of get through the boss. And that was a horrible run with RNG. My Stealth Elf is at about 80-something% crit rate. So she is struggling to get those crits, still at that 80. She is on a crit rate attack build, so it's not the end of the world if she doesn't crit, but like I said, she just really wants to get that one crit when she's teamed up with the Boomer, and things are pretty good. I'll show you all my builds and stuff like that after this. The next thing I want to mention is just change up the villain. So I was using the Gulper, who when we get to B10, Gulper's going to be the go-to. And I found that often the boss was getting his revenge in, like when he's like at sort of that 5% health range. And I was always thinking if I had one more attack, I would have been fine. So what I decided to do was as you can see, my Chompy Mage is only at level 34. His heal is only 855. The heal over time is about close to 200. It's not huge. Like I said, he is still low level, just 3-star, no power-ups, nothing. But he does offer the boss a different target to attack. And also, he does provide that little bit of healing without actually doing any attacks to the boss, contributing to that revenge counter. So mixing up the villain really does help. I found Chompy Mage, like I said, to be the best fit for my team at the moment. When I did start farming, this is the other thing. You don't have to start farming it with 100% success. So when I started farming B8 with this team, I was sort of around, I think it was about 70% success rate. And from doing that, you can see one crit from Stealth Elf. Now we're pretty good. We got the poison. It's pretty much done. But yeah, farming from about 70% success rate on this B8, I still found the drops a lot better than B7. I started getting some better 5-star runes, started getting some 6-star runes, and as you do those upgrades, it just gradually increases the success of your team. So I've got actually a lot of 6-star runes now from B8 just from a few days of farming, and a lot of 5-star upgrades. That's how I've managed to get my Stealth Elf up above 80% crit rate. And it is working really well for me. Like you can see, this team now is about, I'd say 90%, 80 to 90% successful. Sometimes I do only get the 8, but normally I do get at least 9 victories in the 10x. It normally is, funnily enough, the runs that Kaboom does survive to the boss that do fail, just because he glances a lot. But normally it's just really bad RNG, you know. If the boss decides to use Blow on Stealth Elf 3 times in a row, it can be a wipe. And once again, it comes down to Stealth Elf critting. So I have no doubt, if I get like one more decent upgrade on Stealth Elf runes, I will probably be able to get to that 100%. Just because, yeah, like I said, the crit rate in this game is so annoying, the way you can have 100% crit rate and never crit. But the other thing I wanted to mention, and this one really applies to breaking into B8, is don't be afraid to 15 some 5-star runes. Specific runes I'm talking about are the damage runes for your attackers. So mainly for me, it was my Stealth Elf. So my Stealth Elf, when I first jumped into this, I had her on a crit rate, crit damage. I did get a 6-star attack rune, so I've swapped it to that. But I do prefer attack, like I said, because crit at this early stage when you still have fairly low crit rate, the attack isn't as optimal. And luckily we got him before the revenge there on that run as well. Like I said, the Kaboom made it. He doesn't do the greatest damage. So yeah, but putting your attack runes, especially on the Stealth Elf, to 15 really does help. I had the crit rate, crit damage originally, and I'll go show you the runes now just to demonstrate it. But my Stealth Elf was originally on, if we have a look here, we go to Stealth Elf, you can see now I've got a 6-star for both of those. This slot 1, it's the attack, so I put that one up to 15. That's still the 5-star. I do have a 6-star one, but it's got no crit rate on it, so I dropped it. But yeah, originally she was on this one that I put to 15, and then she was on this one that I put to 15, just to get that damage up there, because the damage increases do really help. And then obviously getting the defensive ones up to plus 12 is pretty much where I left them. This one was my first 6-star, so I did put it up to 15 because it did have the 7% crit rate. That one did help a bit, but yeah, then it's just the 5-stars at 12. But it is those attack runes, the damage-based runes, that you do want to get up there. Because if you can get the boss, kill the boss before the revenge, you're pretty much sweet. So, especially for something like Stealth Elf that has elemental advantage, it's not the end of the world for the survivability, because normally you can survive. It's just you want to get the damage done before the boss can get his revenge in. So, this is the other thing as well for the Stealth Elf. This is once again more related to B8. For me, I went full broken sets, trying to get the crit rate up there, because if you, like I said, if you get to a certain point, all you need to do is crit, and you're pretty good. As you can see, my crit rate's at 89, and in that first run, I think we had 6 non-crits in a row on the boss. So the boss obviously has a truckload of block rate, which really sucks, and I wish they'd be more transparent on what it actually was, so we knew what we were aiming for. It feels bad to have 100% crit rate and not crit, but that's where it is at. So I'll go through the runes and just show you sort of my progression. So that rune still, this one was a B8 drop. That one was actually a B7 drop, which is nice. These are still old runes here. And then this one. Okay, so this one here is a good example of how you can get upgrades. So this was a blue 5-star rune that I got from farming B8. And the awesome thing about this is, and if we look at some of these other purple runes that I've got from B8 farming as well, unfortunately, I don't get many with crit rate. As you can see, these ones, like if I just had anything with a crit rate sub that I could roll into, it'd be awesome to get those upgrades for the Stealth Elf, because in the end, I find B8 with Stealth Elf, it's all about getting your crit rate up. But yeah, just been unlucky with crit rate subs on blue and green runes. As you can see, there's just nothing with crit rate. But this one here, I did have the crit rate for. So don't be afraid to go for the broken sets and get that crit rate up. That's just my opinion. You could go double attack. I just don't find it to be as reliable. I did do some testing. I just didn't have the damage. So the crit rate really does help. The other thing, the Boomer, like if you're using Boomer, I did try and get him on the strike focus. The focus was a really big one for me, because effect accuracy, if he's not landing his bombs, he's losing out on a lot of damage on the waves, but more importantly on the boss. If you can land a bomb with Boomer on the boss, it really does increase the success rate of this. So I really did try and get the focus. Luckily I did get this attack one. Before that, he had, I can't remember which rune, I think it might be on him. He did used to be broken, so I was lucky to get that. But like I said, the focus really does help. And then the rest of these are just 5-star runes. And once again, because he wasn't my main attacker, I left these ones at plus 12. But if you needed that extra bit of damage, you could try getting those to plus 15. But the main reason for me having Boomer in this team is to give Stealth Elf the attack buff. If she can crit once off attack buff, it's just guaranteed win. Besides that, if she just gets a normal crit, it's pretty nice. But as you can see, I have been getting a fair few 6-star runes. Something ridiculous that I find in this account compared to my main account. My main account, I still do not have a set of attack percent runes. So I do not have a slot 6 attack percent rune on that account yet. And this one, I'm just swimming in them. I've got, where was it? So I've got that rune. I've got this one down here, which is attack percent as well. And then I've got a few flat attacks as well. I think I've got 2 6-star flat attacks. There you go. So I'm swimming in attack runes in this account compared to my other account, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's actually progressing a lot better than my other account. But once again, that is all coming down to RNG. But it's all about testing different things that can maximize what you do have. for your progression. And once again, not being afraid to jump into something at a non-100% success rate. For me, like I said, even at non-100% success rate at about 70 when I jumped into B8, I was still getting more upgrades than I was from doing B7. And also, the other option is just farm scenarios for longer. I could have got my boom at a 6-star and increased my success rate. I could have farmed Stealth Elf up to Awaken and got a better success rate. I was just purely bored of farming scenarios and I wanted to farm runes. So that is also another option. Just farm your units more and it will increase your success rates. But once again, if you're bored of that, don't be afraid at a lower success rate of the dungeons, because after a little bit, you will get those upgrades that do increase your success. The other one, like I said, the villains, have a play around. Like I'm trying to do this progression without the broccoli guy, because the skill ups into broccoli guy it's such a heavy investment that I don't want to waste again. And I feel like if I got this guy up to like level 60 without any skill ups, the healing capacity of him is still really nice. And even moving into B9, I'm thinking he's going to be my answer, because if I'm using Boomer and Whamshell, Whamshell's already got the defense buff, so I really don't need the Gulper for that. And this guy just having that heal with 2 turns of regen, if you get him leveled up a bit and get some stats on him, it'll be really nice. Like I said, Gulper's the one we're looking at B10, so Gulper is still the one that I have been doing most of my work on. But the Chompy Mage can just fill that gap early game until I get to B10 and actually do it. So I might actually start even aiming for the Chompy Mage for some of the Chaos Dungeons, just so I can get him powered up a little bit more, get some more healing value out of his heal, and just work towards it like that. As you can see, there we go. That's the Gulper where he's at the moment. But that Chompy Mage is definitely a good option. He does have the minute cooldown from when he can be resummoned, but it often, for me, it's been working out pretty well in my B8 runs. Like I said, moving into B9, because doing it without skill ups, I am going to be looking at the Boomer Whamshell. Really excited for the new dungeon coming out in the next patch, which I'll do a video about once it does actually drop, which is going to have the Drobot. I think he looks like an absolute beast. He's a mech unit. I'm going to be so tempted to put him into my B9 team for progression, because he is farmable, but for people down the track, I don't know, maybe I'll do him in a team and then try and do it without him, because I want to have safe progression for everyone that comes to the game. But that is really exciting in itself, so we'll look forward to that once it does drop, and see how he goes, because he just looks like an absolute beast. His animations look sick, so can't wait for that one. But yeah, B9 looking at the Boomer and Whamshell with the Chompy Mage for the heal, so we'll see how that goes. But hopefully, if anyone's stuck trying to get into that B8, even B7, same sort of thing, look at those 5-star damage runes, maybe 15 them, and just swap around your team. I was trying the Whamshell, I was trying the Jetvac for a heal, and it just worked out. Using Kaboom, get through the waves a little bit quicker, he dies off, and then the Boomer Stealth Elf was a perfect combo for the boss. So play around with those things, see you go. Let me know if you got any other tips that you guys helped you guys progress in your dungeons. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.